Our top stories today: public sector workers strike,
Breivik is declared insane,
arrest over racist abuse,
and the latest on Gary Speed.
Good afternoon, I'm Daniel Smith.
And I'm Jane Horswell. Thousands of public sector workers were on strike today, bringing disruption to many parts of the country. Our political correspondent Nicholas Pragnell reports.
Schools closed and operations cancelled then, as public sector workers around the UK protested against changes to their pension plans. More than half of the UK schools were closed, and ambulance crews across London and the South East have struggled to keep up. We spoke to protesters outside the University of Creative Arts, Farnham, to find out what they were hoping to achieve.
Well, publicity mainly, but striking is a last resort. We would like to negotiate, if the government would negotiate. But it's only yesterday, or the day before yesterday, that the government even released the figures to show that our pension actually is affordable.
I'm Adam Lincoln. I'm a regional support official for the University and College Union. We're a trade union for academic and academic-related staff. Obviously, our members are on strike today at University of the Creative Arts, and I'm here supporting local members. We're on strike today around the country with 3 million other public sector workers in defence of our pensions in particular. And of course, there's a wider dispute in relation to the government spending cuts and attack on the public sector.
No matter what the results of the strikes are, this has been the largest single day of industrial unrest since the winter of discontent. Nick Pragnell, UCA News.
Norwegian mass murderer Anders Breivik is insane and should not be punished, an official report has recommended.
Court-appointed psychiatrists have determined that the gunman is criminally insane. When asked what talking to Breivik was like, Chief Psychiatrist Torgeir Husby said, "It's been good. He's been cooperative. He has told us just as the police and defence have said. He's been very interested in speaking to us." Breivik shot to notoriety in July when he massacred 77 people using a bomb at a police station headquarters and then went on a shooting spree at a summer camp held by Norway's governing Labour Party. It was the biggest loss of Norwegian life since World War II. Breivik admits the killings but pleaded not guilty to terror charges.
57-year-old Tony Nicklinson from Wiltshire has asked for his doctor to end his life. Mr. Nicklinson is paralysed from the neck down after being diagnosed with locked-in syndrome following a stroke he had in 2005. He wants doctors to end his life without a fear that they will endure a murder charge. Mr. Nicklinson has said, "What I have to look forward to is a wretched ending with uncertainty, pain and suffering while my family watch on helplessly." He said, "Why must I suffer these indignities? If I were able-bodied, I would put an end to my life when I want to." Lawyers say he is mentally competent and the case is now being taken to the High Court.
A woman has been charged after a video was posted online appearing to show a traveller on the Croydon tram link racially abusing other passengers.
Go back to where you come from. Go back to
The video, titled My Tram Experience, was uploaded to YouTube on Sunday and has since amassed almost 2.5 million views. Emma West, 34, of Croydon, will appear before Croydon Magistrates Court later this week.
Moving on to sport now, and the inquest into the death of Premier League legend Gary Speed has begun today. The inquest will be opened at the Coroner's Court in Warrington Town Hall before a full hearing takes place at a later date. Speed was found hanging in his garage by his wife on Sunday morning. Many players, coaches and fans have been paying their tributes.
He was my captain of Wales. He'd do anything for you. He turned Welsh football around. He'd had a wonderful career. Got a lovely wife and 2 sons. And
I honestly couldn't take it in. Really, it was something to say. I'd spoken to Gary there last week.
Obviously, firstly, I'd like to speak about Gary. I think he was an amazing, talented player. A player that had such a glittering career and just began a great career in management as well.
So just heard it at lunchtime and just couldn't believe it. He's a good friend of my family.
Picture of him and his son, and it just brought me to tears. I was genuinely gutted.
Speed was the first player to reach 500 Premier League appearances. His former clubs included Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, Bolton Wanderers and Sheffield United. He was also captain for the Welsh national team, where he made 85 appearances. Speed became the Wales manager in 2010 and had just started to turn their performances around.
The England rugby team have been in the press for all the wrong reasons recently. With a special report, here is our sports correspondent, Matt Evans.
Here, at the home of England rugby, questions are still being asked about how the union is run. Martin Johnson resigning, leaked documents, and an underperforming team has resulted in the most torrid time in the RFU's 140-year history.
Confidential Rugby World Cup interviews were leaked to the press. This is what some of the players had to say. The coaches really hate each other. It was an immature squad. Some players who couldn't play due to being injured were doing backflips in the pool. For some players, it was all about cash and caps. How these leaks got out is now being investigated. A disastrous World Cup campaign on and off the field ultimately led to England manager Martin Johnson's resignation.
The fact that those reports have been leaked and the way they've been reported is obviously very it's detrimental to the game. It doesn't reflect well on the whole game right now. If I had my time again, I'd clearly do things slightly differently.
The RFU's remit now is to find a new coach and chief executive willing to push forward the England Rugby Football Union.
They need to bring in a new CEO who has a sports background, who can sort of maintain and make sure that there's a functional organisation there for the team to perform. And from that then we need to bring in a manager who has international experience and success at international experience.
With the confidentiality agreement where some of the players were talking about how the World Cup went, etc., I think it's been let out in the public, and I think that's a good thing, to be honest, in my opinion. I think the people deserve to know, the public deserve to know what's going on in the England setup at the moment. We do need to really move on now and progress into bringing up the new talent.
From my point of view, I think the way the RFU's been run at the top of the moment is a bit suspect, especially for a young aspiring England player who want it to be run quite efficiently at the top.
The RFU are expected to announce their appointments by next year.
Matt Evans for Z News at Twickenham Stadium.
That's all we've got time for, and now on to today's weather.
Have a good day.
Hi there, it's a cold start to the morning with temperatures below freezing. We're expecting icy conditions across Northern Ireland, Scotland, Northern England and also across the Midlands. Across Scotland, this milder air begins to push in as it will come into contact with the colder air. We'll see this rain turn into snow just for some time before the snow turns back into rain later on in the evening. We will have quite a few showers across Northern England and the Midlands. Then on into the afternoon it will turn cloudier across western areas as this band of rain begins to move in later this afternoon. Across the Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast of England there will be some sunny spells this morning. It will cloud over later on from the west as we see that milder air continue to push in. Winds will pick up and we'll start to see outbreaks of rain spreading across southwest England and Wales as well. 7 or 8 degrees Celsius here by the end of the day. So for Wednesday it is going to be a fairly blustery start to the day with further showers blowing in across Northern Ireland and the northwest of England too. That's the latest weather.